Welcome to A Chat with Heart podcast. I'm your host, Christina Martin. I'm here to guide us on this journey of heartfelt and uncensored conversations with friends I've met while touring my music in Europe and across North America, and people who have life experience that I genuinely believe we can all learn from. Our personal stories have great power to heal, influence, and inspire. All we have to do is show up for the conversation. If we just talk about it, we could shine a light, we could break a dark day. If we just talk about it, we can cut away, we can make a brighter day. Hello, I have some updates. It's been weeks since I've recorded an introduction for a Chat with Heart podcast episode. So I'm excited to be back. Dale and I both got and then got over COVID. I gotta tell you, having zero energy for a couple of weeks, held up in bed, was pretty awesome. My brain slowed right down. It didn't stop, but it was very quiet up there. COVID forced my brain and body to only be able to do one thing at a time. This is my new favorite thing. So post-COVID, I've been just doing that. One thing at a time. With the way the world is set up right now, it's so easy to feel overwhelmed and spiral into misery. You can do this all on your own. Trust me, I've done it. So it's really important to make a plan for yourself. I try to. Make sure you can be healthy and find joy in your day-to-day. So for me right now, post-COVID, that means doing, you got it, one thing at a time. And letting go of useless thoughts and beliefs that I was carrying around. I didn't even realize it was that bad. Like, oh, you're not doing enough, Christina. Oh, your business is going to collapse. Why aren't you back touring like all the bands you see online? You know, that kind of useless chatter. Here's a great Andy Warhol philosophy. He said, sometimes people let the same problem make them miserable for years when they could just say, so what? My business is stressed because of the pandemic or inflation. So what? I didn't get the gig I wanted. So what? I have to buy new tires for my car. So what? I sometimes say, instead of so what, fuck it. Who cares? It's no big deal. Nobody else gives a shit. This is not an emergency. I'm safe and I'm loved and the rest doesn't matter. Who fucking cares? So there are just a few helpful mental tricks if you're feeling overwhelmed or spiraling in your head. Anyway, I'm still here, still trying. One thing at a time though, now. Smiling every day, loving what I do, loving the people I work with. This is exciting. I just launched my new song, In Control. We premiered the music video during a 60-minute interactive online crowdcast event, which was a ton of fun. You can watch the event by visiting the replay page on my website, christinamartin.net, and we're going to be adding ASL interpretation to that replay soon. And I do want to mention that this is sort of on the down low. I haven't made a official public announcement yet, but I do want to let my little heartbeat listeners know. So I was very fortunate to receive a grant by the federal government to make my website, christinamartin.net, more accessible to screen readers. So that's a big, massive initiative that's going to happen within the next year. And I'm really excited about that. So I apologize at this time for anybody who my website is not accessible, and certainly feel free to email me at info@christinamartin.net if there's something that I can help you find, a song, a YouTube link, and I will send that to you directly. So it's in the works. So the music video is out now, In Control. It's on YouTube, on my channel, and there's an audio to describe music video as well on YouTube. Making music videos has been one of the greatest pleasures of my life. It's one of my favorite forms of collaboration and artistic expression. It's so fun working with a great video director. My guest today is Brendan Henry, who directed my two recent music videos. He is a wizard. Not literally, but he's very talented, trained, and experienced in photography, film production, graphic design, and web design and development. Here he is. Brendan Henry, welcome to A Chat with Heart podcast. I've been wanting to have you on here for ever since I've met you, really.
That's exciting.
Are you excited, or you just was that fake?
No, I'm it's my first podcast appearance. I've done some radio interviews and I've done some video interviews, but I've never done a podcast, and I'm super stoked. I was telling my wife, I was like, I hope you're going to be out tomorrow morning because I'm on a podcast and I don't want you around to listen to me.
Yeah, get a life, lady. I got shit to do. People want to talk to me.
I got to be on a podcast.
Yeah. Did she even know what a podcast was?
Yeah, but she listens to true crime, so I had to explain to her that there are other podcasts.
Yeah, that's right.
A lie. She does listen to other podcasts. The joke is more solid if it's
Ooh, do you want to give her like a proper, I don't know, lovey-dovey shutout? Like, do you have anything you've already proposed to her? Like, that's already.
Yeah, we're already married, so like this. Do
you want to ask her for a divorce here?
No.
I got the scoop on the Chat with Her podcast. Brendan Henry is getting a divorce, and it's
hell no.
No,
I'm very, very happily married to my lovely wife Brianna.
Hey, Brianna.
And if she does listen to this, it'll be super awkward. And if she doesn't listen to it, it's probably for the best.
Yeah, I hope she.
I'm not trying to like decrease your listener numbers. I'm just saying like.
I'll message her and ask her if she's had a chance to listen, because we're going to keep this in. And
oh God, I don't like when people listen to me when I'm talking.
Yeah.
So like doing like public appearances or like public presentations, I am a wreck. Like a TED Talk, I would just shit myself on stage.
Even if you had notes, I think you'd be great.
I've tried so many times. I've been so confident going into a public speaking engagement, and then as soon as it starts, I'm like, I should not be here. I am not qualified to be talking in front of people.
Okay, I can totally relate. I start
talking too fast. It's just performance anxiety. I used to play music in front of people as well when I was a kid, and I just can't. It just never worked.
Well, it's performance anxiety is definitely a real thing. I mean, I'm much better now. Like if I know what I'm going to say and I practice. But when a seventh grade, and we have a little heartbeat listener, and my dear friend France McClure, who is most definitely going to be listening to this, and France and I had a like seventh grade science project together, and it was on the planets. And I mean, I was like really hard on her, like I think in preparing for it, and I was overconfident, and I really thought, well, I'm going to nail this, and like, oh, she's the weak link. And as soon as we had to present, I completely like blanked out and panicked. And she carried the whole presentation and did a phenomenal job. I mean, we still got a really good grade. I think we got, whatever, an A or whatever. But I was just super, cocky. And we were prepared. It was a great project. She was a great partner. It was just that thing where like I really thought I could perform this thing and was excited about it, and she was more nervous about it. But then the tables turned, and I just was incapable, and she carried the whole thing. It was great, but also like for years after that, it made me fear, public speaking, and so I over prepare now for everything. And so TED Talk, well, you're not there yet, but maybe someday. We're going to talk about some of the work that we've done in a short period of time together, and why we're working together and how that all evolved, but. Because you're somebody who largely works, I hate to say like behind the scenes, but behind the scenes is where a lot of the magic happens, and a lot of the hard work in artistic endeavors. And I'd love for you to talk a little bit about who you are and when you landed on planet Earth, and like what you do, like because I know you make a living from your art, but we explain what that means for you. And so that my little heartbeat listeners are not like, who the fuck is this guy? Who
the fuck is this? And what the fuck is he doing here? That's a great question.
You don't even know, do you?
No, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing here. I find that I am a person who stumbles into things, and this is probably my life has just been stumbling through creative endeavors and creative arts and that kind of stuff. But where should I start?
Well, I actually I thought when I first was investigating you and creeping you,
Ooh, okay.
I was like, oh, okay. He grew up in Nova Scotia, well, Newfoundland, Nova Scotia, and Australia.
Hmm.
So that was kind of like that. Okay, he's worldly. He's traveled.
So I was born in Gander, Newfoundland, and then almost immediately we moved to South Shore, Nova Scotia. So technically, I have Gander on my passports, but I'm not actually. I feel like I have like a personal and like spiritual connection to Newfoundland, but I'm not. I don't have like a lot of early childhood memories from there or anything like that. And then yeah, I lived in Nova Scotia down by Petite Riviere, like past Lunenburg kind of thing until I was 12 or 13, I think. I have hazy long-term memory. And then we moved to Australia because my mom was actually born there. So we went back to where she was from. I lived there
Oh,
until I was 23.
well, now I know there are like assholes and stuff that like exist in this part of the world, but it's few and far between. And so this explains to me why you're such a kind, nice, chill-ish person.
I
You're a
move
maritimer.
around.
You're
Oh yeah,
a
right.
Newfoundland, South Shore, Petite Riviere, one of my favorite spots. We talked about living there at one point
Hmm.
in our lives, and Australians, lovely people. And I have a hunch that your mom is a nice, lovely. I mean, we've had an exchange, your mom and I,
Oh
on
really?
Instagram, and
Oh interesting.
I,
Growing up, I found that my friends, especially in Australia, I found my friends were always more excited to see her than they were to see me.
did this cause a strife between you and your mother?
I use her as an in. Well, you guys want to come over? It's like, maybe not. I'm like, my mom will be
My
home. They're like,
mom
oh,
is
well,
there.
that's
You used your mother to win friends and influence people,
exactly. Yeah, yeah,
and it's
yeah.
still happening. Well, Jane, look forward to meeting you someday. And
She'd be a great guest.
oh yeah,
Very soothing voice, very diverse work history and artistic history as well.
so we talk about that.
Yeah.
And does she have any? I guess this is for her to talk about. But does she have any like criminal background history?
No, not that I'm aware of. You never know, though. There's always
I'll get
something lurking somewhere.
I'll get to it. I'll
I
get
feel
to
like she could be hiding something that we be like, what? You you murdered someone?
her episode. Will be called Jane. What are you hiding?
Why are you so damn nice? Yeah.
Yeah,
Whereas I just accuse her of murder to try and make up for it.
yeah. So okay, so let's
So
fast
enough
forward
about her.
to
Back
well,
to
yeah,
me.
enough
Back
about
to
your
me. This is
mom,
all about
right?
me, right?
Well, it will be yes.
Okay, cool.
I mean, you have extensive experience in photography, videography, design, and there's probably some other technical terms for what you do that I don't know. But I sought you out because of your video work. What else do you do? What else do you have you been offering clients
Ooh.
and or personally? Like, what do you do? I mean, I know you sell some of your artwork online on your website, and
Yeah, I am one of the people who will actively tell you that the jack of all trades, master of none phrase is great and not a detriment to themselves at all. So I started off as a
that's
teenager. I started doing like Photoshop and graphic design, that kind of thing, and then I got into some web design when I was even younger. I guess I started doing like HTML websites when like GeoCities and that kind of stuff were still a thing.
cool.
And
You were a nerd.
nerd, yeah. I was writing HTML on like pen and paper in the back of a car on like a road trip once, just because I thought it was cool.
Wow.
I wrote a Shania Twain fan site in
You did.
like
You did
code.
not.
I wrote it out. I wrote out all the code required to like show the images and like put the text in, and it just yeah. I think I still have it somewhere.
Like,
It's
is it a website?
I don't think it actually the site doesn't actually exist anymore, but the paper still does, so I can still like retype it in.
You should take a
I
photo
should
and post
definitely
that somewhere.
Yeah, for sure. But like, hey guys, this is what you get.
And tag her and
It's
tell
code.
that story because
Oh my
that's
God.
pretty hilarious.
Pretty funny.
Well, it's amazing too. But anyway, the fact that you were practicing this skill at one point at a young age.
And it still happens as well. I was in a meeting through my in one of my many jobs in the last few years. I was sitting in a meeting that I knew I didn't need to be in, and I was like, oh, I've got actual work to do, but I don't have a computer with me right now. But I know the code that I need to write to do my work. So I'm just gonna put it on a post-it note. And I
Yeah.
just started scribbling code out until someone looked at me and was like, "What are you doing? Are you crazy?" I'm like, "No, it isn't a beautiful mind moment. It's just a good mind moment.
Yeah.
I'm not hallucinating. I just need to get this work done, and I'm just gonna write it out and type it in later and hope it works."
Just like
Um,
handwriting code for in
yeah,
my
just why not?
it's yeah,
It's just like at the point that I'm at with code, it's more like a language where I just like I know what I need to say and I know kind of the words I need to say it in, and I just sort of find it through there. But yeah, so I do a lot of stuff. I do web design, graphic design, logo and branding, and marketing consultation, and photography and videography, and yeah, now I am focusing almost exclusively on visual effects work, which is damn exciting,
it is really
and trying to
exciting.
find ways to actually sell that and make it into a profitable business that can actually benefit other businesses as well, that kind of thing, which is kind of the trick, is like trying to actually sell it in a way that actually can be used rather than just sort of trying to sell it and then run away.
Well, I know very little about visual effects, but it was something that I knew I wanted I wanted to find somebody who had who was really good at this and not just good at it, but like, wanted to expand themselves
Hmm.
and try new things. And I really am so grateful that I met you. And I saw a video Andrew Waite did. Sorry, you did the video. He didn't do anything. He just showed up
I mean, yeah,
in your
he
kitchen.
yeah, a kitchen and a garage and a living room.
Yeah. So and you made this really cool video and here in the Maritimes and I reached out to you because of that video and I hoped and prayed that you might respond. I really thought you wouldn't because on your website you said you're really busy and which is
That's my cover story. So if I don't respond to things, no one feels like they're like too offended,
I think
because
that's yeah, nice. Well, it
sometimes
could
emails just I don't even see them. They just get lost in the ether out there, or the ether of my inbox, or
I
like
know
they're
this.
there.
I know this. That's I know this
You've
about
learned
you.
to just keep pestering me
I
till I notice things. Yeah.
That's right. I hound you on Instagram and with text messages, but you don't seem to mind, or even if you do, you don't let me know that you mind. So I
No,
keep
you're
doing it.
fine. I
I'm fine.
You're yeah, you're fine. Like it's funny because like I sometimes if a client has my phone number, they'll text me and it'll drive me up the wall because I'm like, I don't think that I gave you permission to text me. But if a different client texts me, I'm so happy. And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, thank you so much for reminding me. I'm on it right now. I'm all
Oh
yours.
my God,
And I feel like
Brendan.
I don't want people knowing which one is which. So I'm going to say that every client I have right now, you are welcome to text me, but don't text me.
Oh, no, don't. No, you should reverse that.
Don't text
And
me. But if you have to, do it, but don't.
but try not to
Yeah,
and go to
don't do it.
Instagram first.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
And never call me. Oh my God. Unless you are someone who calls me already, and it's fine.
yeah, I understand. Sometimes, like I've had moments where in this moment I feel comfortable. I'm
Mhm.
gonna call Brendan, but not often. And then there's the obvious times when we actually schedule a call, and I'm like, now I have to call him.
It's the thing of like, if you called me right now, I would answer immediately because I'd be like, something's wrong, or something's up, or something's urgent. But some
Sure.
people just like they just want to call just because they like to call. And I have
Yes.
friends that do that, and I also answer their calls. So I'm like, oh, they just want to call rather than texting. Cool. I'm just gonna answer that. That's great. I know that there's no pressure or anxiety related to that. My problem is always it's like if someone's calling and I know who they are and I don't know what they're gonna want, I can't answer the call
Yeah.
because I'm not ready. They're putting me on the spot.
Yeah.
They're basically knocking on banging on my door, and they won't say what it is until they're already in my house.
That's a good point.
And
That's
I can't
why.
get them out because I can't like, and I don't have the personality to be like, I have to go by, force them out of my house. So like they're in my house now. They're just going to start talking and telling me what they want, and I can't get away. It's just like
That's what
the,
meetings are for.
yeah.
Like that's why I schedule meetings so you can, get everything out on the table and you can kind of come prepared and
Or even like a warning, like text me first, be like, hey, I'm going to call you in a minute and it's going to be about this. Do you have time? And I'd say, of course I have time. And that sounds great. I'll have a minute and a half to think about it and I'm ready.
yeah.
But it's that
I
putting someone on the spot that I freak out about. But if it's casual, it's fine. Or if it's like important, it's also like, if someone is trusting me to like solve a problem really fast, I'm all over it.
I've told people I've asked people to stop texting me because and to put it in an email, like to put work stuff in an email because
Mhm.
that's where I track everything and store or file everything and can go back and refer to instead of it being
Oh
in.
yeah.
With you, we have sort of our threads are in Instagram and then
Yeah.
in Google Docs. And, we've got our system. But yeah, it's interesting.
And you did try everything at first. Like
I tried everything.
when
I
you
tried
first reached out to me, you sent an Instagram message, a
Telegram. Did you get my Telegram?
the pigeon hit the window, actually. I'm sorry about that.
Fuck.
I heard him coming. I didn't know how to open the window fast enough. We were in a new apartment and I was scrambling with like the latch
Yeah.
and he just hit the glass. He's fine. He just doesn't know where he is.
Well,
He just
at
wanders
least
around. He actually works for FedEx now. He's wandering around out there. It's
we
great.
we found our method.
Yeah. It's
Um,
everything.
and
It's a text
yeah.
plus Instagram plus an email, depending on the urgency or intent.
And we've established this and now we're two music videos in.
Hmm.
We started with a video called Stay With Me. I'm giving you all, and it's all that I've got. Stay with me. And that was our first time working together. And I enjoyed the process for a couple of reasons. I came to you before that and kind of came to you with this idea of like, we're working on an album. Join my creative team. We're talking about branding and I have some general ideas and I'll be working with my designer, Nicole, on album artwork and whatnot. And cohesiveness is important to me.
Hmm.
But with the music videos, I wanted to have a little bit more freedom, but I still, there are a couple of things, like that I threw out to you that like, okay, in the long run, I would still like to come around to, oh, this all makes sense, and,
Hmm. Yeah.
but that we could play around and there's more flexibility with the music videos. And it was really your vision. And I had no idea how you would achieve any of it. I was
That's the
like,
fun part. Neither did I.
Great, good to tell me now. But I really felt
That's the
like
joy. Yeah.
you fooled me. You were confident that you were going to be able to, like the visual effects and everything. You mentioned, there'd be like a giant octopus, and at first I was like,
Hmm.
oh god, is this going to be fucking cheesy? Like, and no, I it's so fucking cool. It just blew me away what you did, and working with you on and the crew was great. Like I felt like, oh, we've got a really good flow here. Really good attitudes all around. Everyone was excited, enthusiastic, did their jobs really well. And I also appreciated just being able to I trusted you and I have trust issues. I, I just,
That makes me feel even better. Yeah. When we actually came up with that concept, what happened for me is like I listened to the song until I could see something in my head, and then I just bounced off you and see if it stuck. So like I think the first bit of like brainstorming for that video was basically just me sitting listening to the song as many times as I could, my eyes closed or eyes open or driving or whatever else or working, and just like trying to see what sparked in my head, because I find that usually I can see something in my head and I just have to try and figure out what it is and sort of pull the wool back and get through the fog and see it. And I think early on we had that idea of like an abandoned house somewhere, and then I think there was like a reference to Terry Gilliam's Tideland film at one point where it was filling with water, and then I was like, I can't do that. That's gonna be too much of a challenge. I like to like set up challenges in my in projects so I know that I'm gonna gain something from it. I'm gonna learn as I'm going, even if it's like a small thing I'm learning, like how to texture a octopus tentacle and how to animate that. Like I knew I could do it. I needed to have the reason to do it.
mhm.
Um, but yeah, and I think working with you is great with that because you are very much, you and I have similar collaborative instincts where nobody's idea is right. It's more what is better.
Mine's
And
right.
like, no, mine's right.
Yours are often better.
I think it's always like knowing that you could be wrong is a great way to enter
Yeah.
any like collaborative brainstorm where you're like, I've got an idea, shoot it down or make it better, and that's it. That's all.
Hmm.
Those are your only two options. Like I'm going to give you an idea. You either say that's terrible, or you say yes and you improvise on it. You'll always say no but, and it's still that next step. Like if someone says no, I don't like it, and then just back away, there's nowhere to go from that. There's no thread to follow. You can't actually engage with someone if they're just going to shut down and say I don't like it,
Right.
and that's it.
You want to come back with, if you say no to this, I mean, I feel
You better have
responsible.
a better,
Well, I have
yeah.
to have something to come back and to, even if it's not the thing we land on, because often
Hmm.
in my case in music videos, it's not, but it's like maybe the hope is that this will further inspire you to see something that you know you're capable of. You know, if it's you and me are at the helm of this, that we land on something that we're both, yes, I can live with that, or we're both excited, or like,
Yeah.
yeah, we can live with that. And it's probably, we haven't talked a lot about this, but there's probably circumstances where, okay, Christina really wants this. It's not going to kill me just to give her this one, and vice versa. Because it's great. It's great. It's just, I'm moving on.
I think when you're collaborating with someone, you really have to know what your breaking point is, or like what your point is that you're like, no, I can't sacrifice this one thing. Like I think
Yeah.
with you compared to other clients, you have a lot more input and interest in the edit as well, which is
Sorry.
fun because like, oh,
Sorry.
it's great. Well, it's super fun because like it's I'm never threatened. I'm always more like intrigued by someone else's choices. Like if I'm watching a film and I can call out where the edits are, I'm like, oh, I could edit it this. Like if I can say 3, 2, 1, cut to close up, and it happens,
Yeah.
I know that they're editing the same way I would edit it, which is fine. But it also means that there's nothing exciting to the editing. But if it changes and it kind of throws me, I'm still intrigued and I'm still engaged. And I think the funny thing was like on I don't think there was as much on Stay With Me, but on In Control.
In Control is the latest
Yes.
video for my new single, In Control.
Don't worry, baby, I'm in control. When I get scared, I read about us in a book. Let someone famous wrote.
These are songs and videos associated with my future new album, Storm. And I wanted you to, oh God, it feels
I'm
so
gonna do
rough
all
for
of
me.
them.
I want you to do, and I landed on
I'm doing
like,
all of them.
yeah, okay, basically
I'll be very offended
there's gonna be
if
20.
you
There's
get.
only 11 songs, but there's gonna be 20 videos. In any case, In Control. I'm sorry, and I did interject.
It's all
Go
good.
back
That's how we
to,
go. That's how we roll. This is our energy. This is our usual energy. Just interrupt and divert.
yeah,
Um,
great. Dale's gonna love this when he's editing. No, I had more input in the editing process with In Control as opposed to Stay With Me. I think it was more just like, I'm here to look over stuff and comment on the things I normally would comment on. That, I also think that, there's me, I'm the client, I guess, and there's certain things that I historically look to, like, let's say treatment of how do I look, because that is important in artist music videos, and
for sure.
the, because when I sort of like mixing a song, if you change one thing, so you're interested in the overall picture and the texture, the color treatment, and something popping in the background, and then that affects, let's say, my skin tone, the texture of how the artist looks, or the people in the video, then I'm looking at that. So it must be like a kind of a balancing act.
Yeah, and it's interesting because like when I approach videos like this, in like approaching any music video, I find that while it is counterintuitive for a visual person to base their choices on this, I prefer to think about the emotions first more than anything else. So like I map out in my head, oh, this part of the song makes me feel this, so I need to make sure they feel that too. Because I feel like if it resonates with me in a certain way, I want to try and share that feeling. So if there's like a crescendo in the music where I feel like, oh man, if the right thing happened here, my like spine would shiver, and I would think it was so like beautiful and like exciting. So then I try and figure out how to structure things so that you have those earned moments where you're rewarded for watching by seeing this thing happen. You're like, oh, that's perfect. Oh, that's the right timing for that, whatever. Like a flare hits the camera as this thing happens or whatever. But that's kind of where I approach things from to begin with, because that to me is where music is at its strongest anyway. Like you're listening to it to feel something and to experience something and to be told a story, and it's not just a matter of like, oh, I like listening to music because it has notes. Like you're really listening to it because you want something out of it, and you are going to gain that by listening. And it's usually an emotional connection that either excites you or like makes you calm or makes you happy or like
How so are you also talking about and thinking about like tension release in that
Absolutely
process? I really feel like you achieved that with the 2 videos we've done so far, but especially with Stay With Me, where it was like this journey through the rooms in a house, battling struggling with fears, anxieties and a feeling of, in the end, like of taking a deep breath and like being able to relax. And in the video In Control, this basically the story of like I'd say a pop icon from the 80s, let's say, that is so popular that there's a statue resurrected on the moon, and that statue's just destroyed and falls to earth. And because the humans maybe want to put it back together, there's a journey to follow along, and then in the end, like oh gosh, she's back together, like, and what that, like, it's sort of like, oh, we could take we'll have to do a video where we just like maybe don't have the tension release.
Doesn't need to be resolution, but there always needs to be a reward for watching at a certain point. And it's usually like 2/3 of the way through, you need to know that you are being rewarded, and there's a treat for sticking around almost. Like there's something that can be earned. In films, it's your third act, the end of your second act and the beginning of your third act is where like the big shift happens, and you say, oh, here's the final conclusion. Here it's going to start happening. It's going to start rolling out. It's going to be, this is what we've been waiting for the entire time, kind of thing. Your hero finally uses their powers for the first time in like the big way, and you're like, oh man, this is gonna be great. But it's that feeling that makes you feel like you've sat there and you've been part of the story for long enough. You've now unlocked the rest of the story almost.
Well, there's no tits and ass in Stay With Me, but would you say that we've achieved that, the compensation, the treats with my tits and ass in Control?
But I think we gave them up too early. I think it's like the first shot. It's like, is it just a butt, isn't it?
The first shot is my butt. Well, you got to keep them like, whoa, what do we, if we, but then we keep showing the butt. And
that's the thing is like, if that's what you start with. So think of it like, if you're going in with the butt and that's your first, if you're starting with the butt and that's what you're starting with.
We blew it.
We blew the butt. Well, no, it's just a matter of like knowing what your structure is going to be based on what you're starting with. So like if you're starting with the butt, do you then need to go bigger?
We went
to the moon. Yeah, we went to the moon. Yeah. We went to start with the butt and we went to the moon. And then we cracked the statue. So it's a butt, a moon, and a crack. And we're all set. It went
after
up.
That, it was more the journey. It was like, let's let people chill out and enjoy the ride, and then eventually they get to see me in statue form, nude,
reconstructed. Yeah, yeah.
And that should be the reward.
That's the reward, guys. You're welcome. Well, and I think for that video, like my goal was to make people feel a little bit of awe, like a little taste of awe at certain moments where you're seeing like this giant 50-foot long golden arm being carried across the ocean on this container ship, and you're looking at it from like the point of view of a tiny boat next to it, going like, wow, this is giant and epic, and there's scale to it. I can feel it, and it's just a little bit of like an excitement for the brain that makes you think this is large and this is real, and it's bigger than just like a it's bigger than normal, which is just like it's a way of like stimulating the brain and making you think like, oh, this is more epic than my usual life, I guess.
Well, when I was along for the editing journey, so by the end of it, I'm a little I'm still impressed, but I'm also like, oh, I've seen the process, so you're kind of like, I don't know what anybody else is going to think of this, but I mean, I think I like it. And anyone I've shown it to was like, some of the things they said, well, this looks so real. Like, this looks like major motion picture. And I was like, oh, that's great.
Correct, yeah.
And yeah, so I feel like you achieved that for sure. Listeners, you can go and watch In Control. You can watch Stay With Me and enjoy the...
and share with your friends and leave a comment. Yeah. And make sure to subscribe.
So we've got 2 videos under our belt, Brendan,
yes.
And hopefully you'll keep working with me. That means we have an audio described version for each of those videos, which is something new for me. So before 2021, I had never had an audio described music video. I don't think I had seen an audio described music video. I know audio description has been around for decades. So one of the reasons I'm very excited to now be producing these AD versions is because it opens up the music video, which is oftentimes a different storyline than the story that the lyrics are telling. So we're making that available to partially sighted blind population, and so more people can experience what the work that you've done. The work that we've done together. And so that's really exciting to me. And I'm learning that there isn't really an industry standard for audio described music videos. So we're working with this great partner, Kat Germain, who produces these videos and puts together the team. And yeah, we're kind of like feeling our way through this and making our own kind of model for how to do more of these. But this I'm assuming this is the first. These are the first of your videos that have been audio described.
It's exciting because I feel like there is definitely an audience that can be cut off and black holed out of things unintentionally. It's exciting, and it's a real pleasure to get to have these videos audio described like that. But it's this thing that happens like throughout history. There's always been these gaps that we're not aware of. The biggest example recently was when Daredevil, the TV show, was released on Netflix. Daredevil's protagonist is a blind lawyer who happens to be a superhero. There was no audio described version of the show. If you were not sighted or partially sighted, you couldn't enjoy a non-sighted protagonist without someone sitting there describing to you what's happening on screen, or just like hoping for the best. I've watched a lot of really fun content creators who are vision impaired. I think it's Tommy Edison is great. Tommy Edison on YouTube is phenomenal. He's so freaking like he's a joy to watch. He's blind from birth, and he is just like so enthused about everything. He'll review movies based on whether or not he could follow the plot without audio description, just because he just wants to find out. Mm-hmm. He'll like review like scented markers to see if they actually smell like what they should smell like based on the color that they should be, like if it smells like brown. He has so much joy that it's infectious when you watch him. Mm-hmm. And I find that you learn things very quickly, like, oh, that's so dumb, like I didn't think about that at all.
Well,
and there's so many gaps and like in experiences between sighted and non-sighted or partially sighted communities where you're like, oh, I didn't realize you wouldn't know that that's right in front of you.
This last year, learning about proper, closed captions, and realizing that so much of everything that I had online just had the worst captions available to people. And then you think, well, these are like my lyrics and events, and like, computers can only do so much. You need to go in and edit these things, or hire someone who knows how to do that thing really well. Sometimes I think, well, there's the not knowing, like the people just don't know, and it's not on their radar because they It's not something maybe that they have dealt with in their own lives. And the other side of it too is that knowing, and then I've come to learn that there, you know, in order to do almost everything that I do, I mean, there's a cost. There's a financial, you know, people need to be paid for what their expertise is. If you want a good ASL interpreter, then you have to pay them, and just as you have to pay the musician who's performing. And I think sometimes people are they stop when they know they're like, well, I just can't afford that feature.
Yeah.
And so I think the way to remedy that is like when you're planning something out. I've learned this like myself. Like you really have to build it into your plans and budgets ahead of time. And if you're lucky enough to be in an area that, you know, maybe has some funding, that provincial funding, federal funding, private funding to help you achieve certain initiatives, that's one way if you really want to reach more people, or just try something new that could connect. There's stuff you can do for, you know, that doesn't cost that much money, but
Exactly.
But
And every little iota of effort still counts as effort. Like
that's true.
A small effort that isn't that you can afford, or something that you can do for free that you just need to put in more effort on your side, still counts towards trying, and that's important. That's the most important thing, is like just at least trying to begin with, and
Trying, yeah.
being aware. Yeah.
I've been afraid to fuck things up. You have to be open to have feedback, receive feedback, and I really, you know, kind of upset myself at times for like not doing something right or getting feedback and feeling like I disappointed somebody. And then you just kind of have to roll with it and keep trying and do the best you can. And then I've mentioned at the end of the podcast, Sensory Friendly Solutions, Crystal Seeberger, who I've been working with now for, I think it's been almost a year. She's been my consultant, my number one consultant on all things sort of accessible and sensory friendly. And she told me from day one, like, you're going to do things that aren't for everyone. And the important thing is to let people know who it is for. And if you work towards these other things, if it makes sense to you and your where you're at in your life right now, it's, I've had times in this projects that I've been working on where I'm like, oh my God, it's not there yet. And I'm so frustrated and it's not for everyone. But then that wasn't really beneficial for anyone, like for me to get frustrated, just so, like you said, keep trying. And, I had somebody, an artist in the States, message me after we put out the last one, and he shared a audio described version of his own music video. And
nice.
He's somebody in the blind, partially sighted population. So that was really cool. I love these like connections that you make along the way whenever you're just trying to do something new, different. Listen, Brandon, it's time for a Fluster break, okay?
I knew it was coming. I could feel it in the air.
Yeah, just take a deep breath.
That I was about to be flustered.
You're going to be... Well, I hope I've got some questions for you here, and we'll take we'll take the best one. No pressure.
We can take some calls. I'm like, no.
We're not. Yeah, we've got some caller number one. Jane, your mother's here. My first Fluster question for you, Brandon, is what's the story of the first time you drank alcohol and got drunk?
Oh, okay. So this is actually a very interesting story, and I'll try and keep it brief because I don't want to just rant, but also I have a history of just taking a question and running with it. But so 2 different events happened around the earliest taste of alcohol. The first one I think I was like 6, so I didn't get drunk. I mistook a jug of wine or actually it might have been sangria because it was in the fridge at my grandparents' house for juice, and I took a big old glass of it, got one mouthful in, and then it was the most horrendous thing I'd ever tasted. And then until I was 22, I could not drink red wine.
Oh.
Because I was like, that is disgusting. I know I couldn't have food cooked in red wine. I would scream and protest like a child, even if I was like 19. I was like, no, I can't. This is disgusting. I'm gonna get drunk off this. And then I didn't drink for the longest time. So drinking age in Australia is 18. So I didn't really start drinking till I was 21. which is normal for North America and some provinces in Canada as well. But what happened was the moment that I started actually becoming tipsy and drunk, my brain cleared up, and I realized that I had been running on fumes my entire life. Almost like I was like living in a fog. My handwriting was so much clearer when I had like a few beers, and I didn't really understand why that was happening. So I talked to my mother, and she was like, "That's weird." We went to a doctor, and they were like, "Oh, you have ADHD. You have extreme ADHD, and it's severely impairing your ability to like executive functioning and stuff. But what's happening is that you're slowing your brain down with alcohol, so you can actually focus and do things one at a time. Because otherwise, you're just trying to speed through everything, and you're not getting anything done." So basically, getting drunk at a normal, reasonable age led to my ADHD diagnosis, which actually changed my entire life. So I would say that is the most prominent memory of and first memory for like being drunk was more just like discovery and being like, oh, I can actually function now, which is probably not the exciting partying answer you were looking for.
I was looking for like, you took all your clothes off and fell asleep in the park. And no, Brendan, I think that was my favorite of all the Fluster questions and answers. Of all the answers, I think that was really beautiful. And I didn't know that.
It's exciting
about your history. But so then, did your doctor say keep drinking?
If you want the other answer to that, like the follow up to the wine part of that answer,
Sure.
I actually ended up drinking red wine profusely when I went on a trip through South America, and I ended up in the heart of Malbec territory. I really hadn't enjoyed red wine until that point, and then I enjoyed way too much of it. You could buy it for like a gallon of it for $5, and it was like the best wine you'd ever tasted, and a lot of wine went through my body really fast.
I would like to hear you speak to where creativity comes from for you.
The funny thing is that like inspiration and creativity are kind of one and the same in that they're an illusion, I think, personally. I think like the eureka moment where someone says, oh, I've got it, I'm a genius, this one moment I have figured it out. It's all like it's an accumulation of small thoughts and small experiences and small things that all lead to the final piece unlocking a massive puzzle. Like if you think about like Darwin suddenly unlocking evolution, there's no one moment where he was like, oh my god, I figured it out. He had spent years and years like learning about different things that were going to lead him to that one thought. But there are certain things that all line up, and then they will finally blossom and like they will become something. I think I was raised in a creative household. I was encouraged to be creative and think outside the box. I was encouraged to find alternative solutions to things. I was allowed to be curious beyond belief. I had my parents and grandparents also being very curious about things, and so always wanting to explore and learn new things, and especially in the creative areas. And just I feel like just curiosity and like a passionate and sort of fervent desire to know more about anything that really interests you is always like, I feel like that usually is where at least my creativity comes from. I think it also that seems to work the same way for other people as well. Yeah, it's just that thing of like, if you are always trying to figure out how something works or why it works, you will then accumulate all these explanations and thoughts and solutions to problems you may not have in your head ready to go. So it's that thing of like you are ready for a problem that hasn't occurred yet. Let's say you are a musical genius. You don't get there by not playing music, obviously. You get there because you're passionate about it and you need to play it in order to fulfill yourself. It's at one point, I guess it is like the 10,000 hours thing of like, you become an expert by doing things so many times. And then after a certain number of hours, you can be determined to be an expert because you've spent so much time doing it. But it's literally just like, whatever it is that you are excited by, if it is creative, you're going to be better at it because you're always doing it. You're always observing it. You're always participating in it. Like right. I work on my computer every single day. I solve problems for myself and I create problems for myself every single day. And so when a new problem arises, I will find a creative way to get through it because I've really considered a lot of the other options already by accident through other means. I think sometimes people ask me like, "Oh, I need you to like think of a just be creative with this." And I'm like, that's not how it works. Like, can't just like it's going to be coming from somewhere. It needs to have a prompt. Like, you don't just say like, if anyone says to you like, "Oh, my creative ideas come out of nowhere," like they are lying. They are confused and they are lying to you because everything comes from somewhere. Like if you say to me, think of something crazy right now, and I think of something crazy, it's going to be based on an existing thought or a series of existing thoughts. Like if you say, I want to do a video in space.
They've said that too.
It's going to be, yeah, exactly. It's going to be, my first thought isn't going to be, what is space? It's going to be, what have I seen in space? And my brain's going to go so fast that I won't notice it, but it's going through every single thing I've seen and finding the things I liked, finding things that go together well, finding things that excited me. And it's going back through all my memories and finding things that are still there because of the dopamine and serotonin attached to them, the chemical response of like excitement. Yeah. And I'm like, oh man, doesn't want a Space Odyssey when they first touched the monolith on the moon. But then like my brain will say, oh cool, that moment is in there because I was drawn to it, but there are details I might have noticed that I'm going to attach to by accident. So I might, if you say space and my brain says that scene on the moon in 2001: A Space Odyssey, I might actually think of the suit that the guy was wearing, not of the actual scene itself. I might think, oh, maybe like a yellow spacesuit with a weird point at the top, on the front, and like some like weird sort of like Michelin Man ribbing on the elbows. Like I might have memorized the wrong part of that and stored that instead. So then if I then follow that thought process, I might go down a very strange different route that isn't even related to that at all, but that initial thought came from somewhere.
Yeah, I think everything that's created now is a result of something that's already been, or a combination of. I mean, art inspires art. Not even just art and experiences, as you said. And I mean, can it still be unique? Can it still? Yes, obviously,
always,
for sure. But there's most likely going to be something that reminds you in almost any new creation. Reminds you of something else. Because it's not born of nothing. Like
if I hear a song that I don't like and someone says, we need to make a music video for this, I would need to know everything to do with it from the side of passion that it came from. So like and it's kind of the joy of like collaborating with musicians on music videos is like I get to get into whatever they're into. So if they're like, oh man, I love this one artist, I love this artist, I love this painter, even though it's not related, like they're like, oh, I love Jackson Pollock. And I'm like, cool, so you like jazz. And they're like, yeah, but I didn't say that. Like, yeah, but you implied that because that's chaos with structure. Like it's getting to know someone through their interests that you can kind of figure out how they ended up making what they made. And then you can say, cool, I know how to add to that, or I know how to like complement that in a certain way. And then you can sort of start to appreciate it because you then are understanding how they even got there. But it's kind of like if you watch a bad movie and you hate it, and then you watch like a documentary about how horrible it was to make and like why everyone's passions were invested in it, but why everything just fell apart, you then begin to like it because you're like, well, I can see they tried. And I want to support that, and I want them to have succeeded even though they failed. So I like it now. It's why like bad movies are so successful. It's like The Room by Tommy Wiseau. Like it's like
oh my God. I love
it's so bad, but you love that he was so passionate that he shot it on film and digital because he didn't know what he was doing.
It's a good example.
Did so many things where you're like, this is so bad because you can feel that he wanted it so bad. You then are invested in watching it, and you're like, yep. I like this now. I
can appreciate just the effort sometimes because I know and I've been through it. But I'll still make an effort and find something I love about it. I just celebrate that someone did something, like took that time because it's not some of it maybe feels easy, but I think you talked about this as well. Like when it feels easy, I think it's often a result
Of a lot of things
of
feeling hard.
yeah, and
Yeah.
having gone through that, and maybe it
It's all
is
quantity. Yeah.
time and a place, and you're lucky as hell that you were open at that moment, but you still had to dedicate attention for even if it was a song written in 20 minutes, like you still had to sit down and really focus and let that come through you and your filters. And
Yeah.
so it might feel easy, but it's hard work. So,
Picasso got approached in a restaurant for an autograph, and he said, "Yeah, sure." He signed a napkin, he handed it over, and he said, "I'll need $6 million for that." I actually don't know if it's a true story or not. It's more of just like a lesson. But the guy was like, "Oh, what? This is an autograph." He's like, "Yeah, but it took me this it took me this many years to be able to draw my autograph this way, so it's worth this much now." It's like if you're writing a song in 20 minutes, there's so much stuff that happened before that
yeah.
to make that happen in 20 minutes that it's being devalued almost by saying that it was so quick. It's like watching the Beatles documentary on Apple TV about watching Paul McCartney just like pull together songs. Oh, what song was it? He just like he basically sits down and he's like, I need to write a new song, and he writes it in like an hour.
I don't remember because I was doing my accounting while Dale was watching it behind.
It wasn't Let It Be. It was Get Back, I think.
Yeah.
And you see him go through very quickly, very like rapidly, and it's almost like rapid fire, kind of like what I do with a lot of stuff as well. It's like you go through things as fast as you can, you iterate until something clicks, and you say, "Cool, I'll keep that piece in place." It's almost like trying to solve a Rubik's cube. Like you just keep finding combinations till something actually works, and you say, "Yep, cool. Next, I'll keep that. And I'll move on from that to something else."
Okay, where do you want people to find your work or find you, explore what you do? What websites are you more active on? Tell my little heartbeat listeners.
So many things, but also
God,
none of
keep
it.
it, Jesus, keep it simple. Less distractions, Brendan.
Okay,
Where-
so here's the divide right now. So right now I'm running a creative agency called Local International Design Company. You can find it at local.design. We do VFX for companies, do a lot of product releases stuff for breweries, that kind of thing. So in terms of professional on that side of things, that's where you'd find me. But then also I have Instagram where I can be reached out to if someone's interested in that kind of collaboration side of things and more of the artistic stuff. What's my Instagram account? It's _ Brendan Henry. Is that right? I don't even know.
Oh,
Yeah. _ Brendan Henry. There we go. On Instagram.
Is
You
it?
can follow me there. Do it. Follow me.
Follow
on Instagram.
Brendan on Instagram. DM him. He will most likely respond.
I tend to respond to DMs because I'm like, oh, if you actually made the effort to reach out and you're not spam, I'll be like, hey, I can't help you with whatever you're looking for, but I will definitely, I'll definitely chat. Like people reach out sometimes just like asking for advice or asking you like recommendations for things or cameras or whatever. And I just I'm happy, always happy to chat with anyone really. I'm so alone.
He's lonely. Yeah, he's
so lonely.
not as busy as he said he was on his website.
And then on Etsy, it is Henry Studio, isn't it? But I think is it linked from my Instagram? I don't even know anymore.
Well, look, okay, here, let me help you out here because you seem to be incapable.
I'm on my laptop right now, just looking for shit.
There's a website called Minotaur Agency, so MINOTAUR.agency. And that has a little about you. It has a link to your Etsy shop, which is
that works.
B Henry
that's
Studio.
Like my personal.
Yeah,
perfect. That's so Minotaur is like my personal business that I've been running for a number of years. It's sort of.
That's where I send you money.
Exactly. Yeah, and that tends to be like my outlet for these more creative stuff like music videos and art, all the fulfilling stuff.
I know you're flexible, but we do want you to get paid. Like you don't do stuff for free. Like you need to be paid.
These days I don't tend to volunteer my time freely unless it's like an extremely attractive scenario. I also tend to avoid work where I am just doing a service for money. So if someone says, I need this specifically, I just need you to do it, I'm like, you can find someone else to do that. 'Cause it sounds like you already know what you want.
Yeah.
I am only attracted to work now where it's like, it's collaborative and it's like, and it's a growth opportunity, really.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
I think it's fair.
Yeah, sure. Whatever you want, man. And Minotaur Agency, on that website too, you can link to some of the video projects that you've done.
Yeah, there's some stuff on here.
So
There could be more stuff on there, but there's some stuff on there.
I've been spreading the good word about you, and I don't know if it'll ever kick in, but but I'm thrilled that I have the chance to work with you, and I'm really pumped for whatever we do next. Welcome to the Heartbeat Hotline, 1-902-669-4769. I'm the host of A Chat with Heart podcast, Christina Martin, and I'm so excited you called. Leave me your question, a suggestion for the podcast, or a comment about this episode. Please be aware your message may be used on the podcast and social media. Tell me your name, where you're calling from, and it's also fine if you want to remain anonymous. Thanks for listening. Have a great fucking day. A Chat with Heart, produced and written by me, Christina Martin, co-produced and engineered by Dale Murray. Check out Dale's website, dalemurray.ca. The podcast theme song, Talk About It, was written by me and recorded by Dale Murray. You can find it on all the places you stream music. Production plans for this podcast and Season 1 are supported by the Province of Nova Scotia's Women in Business Implementation Fund and the Creative Industries Fund. Special thanks to Terrence Taylor for mentoring me on hosting this podcast and really digging deep with me on my production plans for Season 1, which, let's be honest, Terrence, ended up being more like well-needed psychotherapy for me. To Crystal Seeberger at Sensory Friendly Solutions, thank you from the bottom of my heart for helping me learn how to be a more inclusive, accessible, and sensory-friendly human. Visit my Patreon page to become a monthly or yearly supporter of this podcast and my music endeavors. If you're new to Patreon, it's a membership platform that helps creators get paid. Sign up at patreon.com/Christina Martin. For this to be a massive success and reach 7 billion people, I need you to share, rate, leave a review, and subscribe to A Chat with Heart on all the places you listen to podcasts. Wishing you, my little heartbeats, a great day.